Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources.
BBC News World. October 20, 1914 America, New York, China. The patriotic, ziganwu, bloggers who attack the West. Their scathing posts have shot them to fame amid rising nationalist fervor, but they toe a fine line.
Time: October 20, 1913 America, New York, FDA authorizes Moderna and J&J booster shots. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, today followed the advice of its advisory committee and recommended booster shots of COVID-19 vaccines from Moderna and Johnson & Johnson.
BBC News World. October 20, 1903 America, New York, COVID. WHO warns pandemic will drag on into 2022. Slow vaccine supply to poorer nations means the crisis will last longer than it needs to, experts say.
World CBS News, com. October 20, 1902 America, New York, Florence's Uffizi Museum reopens with pandemic restrictions. The Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy, has reopened after closing down due to the coronavirus pandemic. New health and safety restrictions, such as temperature checks and social distancing requirements, have been put in place.
October 20, 1855 America, New York, Biden pitches economic agenda in his hometown. President Joe Biden made a pitch for his unfinished economic agenda as negotiations heat up in Congress, broadly touting its provisions as Democrats pare back the sweeping legislation to expand the social safety net in efforts to get it passed.
New York Times World News. October 20, 1839 America, New York. COVID cases rise in some Caribbean islands, WHO says. Many nations and territories in the region have had trouble rolling out vaccination drives and need to ramp up testing, officials said. COVID-19 vaccination drives have gotten off to a slow start in some Caribbean nations.
World CBS News, com. October 20, 1838 America, New York. Social distancing rules defied as UK pubs reopen. After months of lockdown, countries across the pond are slowly lifting coronavirus restrictions. People in the UK are celebrating their newfound freedom with ale, and museums in Paris opened their doors to the public.
October 20, 1835 America, New York, Facebook, change your CEO, not your name. As the world begins to truly contend with just how dangerous social media platforms can be, Facebook's reckoning has been kicked into overdrive following former staffer Frances Haugen's shocking allegations that the company has long known about its platform's toxic effects on society, and has done little to try to fix them. October 20, 1835 America, New York, Raskin scolds Matt Gaetz after grilling him on Trump's election lies. Representative Jamie Raskin, DMD, got into a contentious exchange with Representative Matt Gaetz, RFL, over former President Trump's lies about the 2020 election at a Rules Committee hearing.
World CBS News, com. October 20, 1835 America, New York. Men convicted of killing U.S. journalist Daniel Pearl could soon walk free. The men convicted of the murder of Wall Street Journal reporter Daniel Pearl could soon walk free. Pakistan's highest court supported an April lower court ruling that acquitted the men of the 2002 killing, citing a lack of evidence. World CBS News, com. October 20, 1825 America, New York. More than 300 protesters arrested in Hong Kong. Authorities in Hong Kong used water cannons and pepper spray to disperse thousands of pro-democracy protesters and arrested more than 300 people. The protesters oppose new national security laws that aim to crack down on dissent. World CBS News, com. October 20, 1812 America, New York. EU reopening its borders, but not to Americans. The European Union will reopen its border to visitors from 15 countries but is barring any visitors from the United States. Holly Williams reports.
BBC News World. October 20, 1806 America, New York. UK agrees free trade deal with New Zealand. The government says consumers and businesses will benefit from deal, but it is unlikely to boost growth.
World CBS News, com. October 20, 1804 America, New York. Dalai Lama weighs in on Beijing's crackdown on Hong Kong's protests. Tibet's spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, was forced into exile in 1959 after an uprising in his country was crushed by Chinese forces. Now, as Beijing clamps down on Hong Kong's freedom and massive protests, he says, he's wary. World CBS News, com. October 20, 1801 America New York. Brazil ties U.S. with largest daily number of COVID-19 cases. The World Health Organization reported more than 10 million people have tested positive for COVID-19. Brazil and India are seeing the virus spread fast. Elizabeth Palmer reports.
New York Times World News. October 20th, 1800 America New York. The Webb telescope's latest stumbling block, its name. The long-awaited successor to the Hubble Space Telescope is scheduled to launch in December. But the NASA official for whom it is named has been accused of homophobia. Integrating two major pieces of the James Webb Space Telescope in a Northrop Grumman cleanroom in Redondo Beach, Calif. This year.
World CBS News, com. October 20th, 1758 America New York. Synthetic coronavirus vaccine in development in the UK could be easier to mass produce. There is encouraging news on a new type of coronavirus vaccine being developed in Britain. If effective, the vaccine could potentially be cheaper and easier to mass produce than others.
October 20th, 1752 America New York. A 4-year-old boy survived a 70-foot cliff fall with nothing but some bruises. A 4-year-old boy who slipped off a cliff and fell about 70 feet suffered just some scrapes and bruises, the Wolfe County, Kentucky, search and rescue team said in a Facebook post. October 20th, 1740 America New York. New York DA's office investigating Trump Organization's golf course property taxes. The Westchester County, New York, District Attorney's Office has opened an investigation into the Trump Organization, looking into whether the company misled a local town over the property value of its golf course for tax purposes. Multiple people familiar with the matter confirmed to CNN.
World CBS News, com. October 20th, 1734 America New York. Coronavirus continues its global spread while Europe begins to reopen. While COVID-19 infections continue to fall across Europe, the Americas seem to be heading into a new and dangerous phase. Places where it appears the pandemic might be beaten, it seems to be making a comeback.
October 20th, 1733 America New York. Cinema's opposition to raising corporate tax rate complicates how to pay for Biden's agenda. Top Biden administration officials are now weighing a range of different ideas to finance a sweeping economic and climate package as opposition from Democratic Sen.